to these attempts to malign my reputation. However, what's rather worrying, as we were telling you a little while earlier about this video and the event at which they took place, is that this entire event, this entire interaction took place at a workshop that was organized by the State Women and Child Development Corporation in association with UNICEF. Now, I'm happy to say we do have callers calling us in, bringing us their opinion. Again, to all of you, you can call us in. The number is on the bottom of your screens right now, 0120-434-1895. Do give us a call. We'd love to know where you stand on this. Right now, we have Hariharan. He's calling us in from Pune. Sir, thank you so much for staying on the line. Sir, what is your opinion about this comment that's come in from this senior IAS officer that has already garnered quite a bit of criticism across the state?
You see, the present circumstance, this remark seems to be sensational. But understand this very clearly. Nothing comes free from the government. Somebody is putting up the bill for somebody to get the benefit. There is something called right for the people to have whatever they want. So the people should always to get empowered, and they must fulfill their needs by their own means. It is not that we can do time immemorial, go on giving money to the people who do not have anything to live on and obstruct our developmental work which will benefit all. So my view is the IAS officer could have suggested, yes, you can start your own small industry or smaller outing in which you can manufacture at a less cost. Government can help you. But saying that government has to give everything free, it is not good.
Senior IAS officer snubbing a young girl student when she asks why the government doesn't provide students with sanitary napkins. The IAS officer has received heavy criticism for her response. She is a senior woman official, Harjot Kaur Bhamra. She rebuked the younger student. When the student asked her a question, she rebuked her by saying, "Tomorrow, when you attain the age of family planning, will you expect the government to provide Nirod too?" Nirod is, of course, condoms. Ms. Bhamra is a 1992 batch IAS officer. She's a principal secretary. Worryingly, she is the Women and Child Welfare Development head. She also heads the Bihar.
Namaste, you're on The Nation at 5. I'm Anand Narsimhan coming to you live from the newsroom here at CNN News 18. Ladies and gentlemen, the ban on the PFI, the Popular Front of India, its affiliates, fronts and other related organizations is comprehensive. The government has already moved in to tell state police chiefs and of course state governments to start cracking down on PFI operations in their respective areas of jurisdiction. The government has also turned around and advised that bank accounts should be frozen of those members who are active with the PFI or accounts that belong to these fronts and organizations. So cripple the unit, ensure that there is no access to funds, but more importantly, start seizing and locking down their operational areas, their offices, etc. All of this under Section 3 and 4 of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. CNN News 18 has also learned that post the government, that is the centre, banning the organization for 5 years, its affiliates, its fronts, all for 5 years, for a period of 5 years. Some of the states have also moved in to declare PFI and its affiliates, its fronts, and also those who are working with them as unlawful associations. So that's what they have done. This has been done by states like Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra. But it doesn't stop here, ladies and gentlemen. Even as this domestic and internal crackdown and quite literally a surgical strike internally, that's what the likes of Narottam Mishra, Home Minister of Madhya Pradesh, have called it. And so have Sunil Deodhar, the National Secretary of the BJP. But more importantly, along with this crackdown, it's the relationship and affinity to radical terrorist groups and their ideology that is very clearly moving towards a pan-Islamic intent. That is what has put the spotlight on the PFI and its workings. Now the investigative agencies are setting up the foundations to establish this organization's intent itself as nefarious, something that needed or with the intent of changing the very DNA of Bharat, and that too by aligning with entities who have been proscribed the world over. Entities like the Al-Qaeda, entities like the Jamaatul Mujahideen Bangladesh, entities like the Daesh or the ISIS. And that's where comes this big development. Mega CNN News 18 exclusive, explosive details that link this unlawful organization and unlawful association with radical rabid terror entities, which are themselves a bane on humanity. CNN News 18 has accessed exclusive details of the NIA and the Delhi Special Cell investigation into the PFIs and its various affiliates and fronts and organizations with the Daesh or the ISIS. Now, this is what Arunima has been able to get, and there are three important cases. The cases are largely with respect to PFI cadre in Kerala. The NIA investigation. This is what the ISIS module that was busted in Kerala for an anti-India plot. The suspect Omar al-Hindi organized an arms training camp. Omar Hindi was initially radicalized by the PFI. Omar was active in PFI's overseas wing, India Fraternity Forum. Suspect Safwan worked as a designer for a PFI mouthpiece. Safwan actively prepared and spread ISIS propaganda. Safwan was trained by PFI's parent organization, the NDF. Arunima now joins us live. Arunima, it doesn't stop with these two individuals. There are at least 15 of them, and some of them who are either killed in action while serving the ISIS, and others who are still with the ISIS.
Yes, and this is the evidence that NIA and the central government are going to put before the tribunal, which will ultimately uphold the government's decision to declare PFI an unlawful organization. That's the procedure under UAPA. You have to go to a tribunal. So while PFI, SDPI, CFI, the Campus Front of India have all been saying we are going to challenge this in the court of law, the government is confident that if that challenge comes, they will be able to defend it. You just mentioned Umar and Safwan. What is it that they're standing accused of? In the investigation, it has come up that these two had actually planned to carry out attacks against foreigners, especially Jews visiting the Vattakanal area near Kodaikanal. They also wanted to carry out attacks against senior police officers and Muslims who belong to the Ahmadiyya sects, as well as judges, to send a message. And you just read out to them how they were attached with the Popular Front of India. Omar, the charge is that he arranged conspiracy meetings for ISIS. He arranged physical training to the group members who wanted to join ISIS, and he was radicalized by Popular Front of India at his native place. So that is case number one. The second case is that of one Shah Jahan. This is from the year 2006 when he joined the National Democratic Front. That was the precursor to Popular Front of India. He actually travelled on a fake passport to Turkey, and in this, the allegation is he was helped by even a head constable of the Kerala police. So the PFI network actually encompasses not just well-educated people in the private sector, but perhaps some people who are working with the government as well, some people in the police service. The third case about which they are talking is that the case which is called the Vallapattanam ISIS case. This is of 2017. The NIA got information that one Hamza, who was a Gulf returnee, was recruiting Keralite youths to travel to Syria, to travel to Afghanistan. He was arranging fake passports for them. He was arranging fake documents. There were travel agents who were on board, and these were all part of the PFI radicalization module. People who were regularly meeting up at PFI premises, getting trained by them, getting brainwashed by them. So this is the evidence that the central government is going to put forward to prove that PFI indeed is a dangerous organization, unlawful organization, collaborating with ISIS, and therefore deserves to be declared unlawful.
Right. Just stay with us, Arunima. We've got Pathikrit Pain also joining us. Pathikrit, so 2006 onwards, this organization and its members have been working with entities like the ISIS. 2016, 2017, strong cases. The PFI in the past has said if some of its members are doing something wrong, how can you blame the whole organization? The other question that begets itself is that if the NIA was aware that these things were happening since 2016, 2017, why wait until September 2022?
Yeah, Anand, first of all, if you look at it, what happened in 2018, in Jharkhand, PFI was banned, but unfortunately, the Jharkhand High Court actually stayed that ban order. So I think the agencies from then onwards learned that they have to have a far more comprehensive, foolproof case in place before they can go for further ban. Number two, yes, it is true. If you look at the nature of the beast, they will keep on mutating. They have been sending their cadre to ISIS for a long period of time, and now that is one part of the story where they would invariably be one of the reasons why they have been banned. But the other two important things that has to be understood. Number one, there is ED involvement in the investigation as well, because under the PMLA they have been getting funds from dubious places abroad, and from that they are bringing the money inside India through Hawala routes, which they have camouflaged in a very, very sophisticated manner. And that kind of money laundering is always done for nefarious activities. That's number two. Number three, of course, is the fact that of their association with certain organizations. It is not just ISIS, it is the organizations like IHH, which is an alleged NGO, linked to both Al-Qaeda and the Turkish intelligence agency called MIT. So if you are, collaborating with the intelligence agency of a foreign country, and then you are going there and you're getting funds, you're getting training. Remember, Istanbul was the hub for all the transit of all elements who were going to Syria for fighting on behalf of ISIS. And in case of PFI also, they went to Istanbul. So when you are collaborating with a foreign intelligence agency, you invariably will be banned. But it takes time to gather the evidence. As you have also mentioned in the past, this is a very dynamic and a sophisticated organization. They have learned how to stay below the radar, and that's how they have camouflaged themselves. So I think it took a little time on the part of the agencies also to create the case. Now the case as it stands, it will be banned. The ban will be, I'm sure, upheld in the court of law. But the nature of the organization is such, Anand, that it will mutate even again. It will mutate even again. ISIS, when it was dismantled and destroyed in Syria, they asked their members to go back and do lone wolf attacks. The same possibility remains in this case as well. PFI for a long period of time stated that it is the individuals who did it, not PFI. But the kind of sophisticated organization that they have helped to back them all the time, this time they will be finding it very difficult to steal the organization.
We put out the first case, Pathikrit, where this is one of the three cases that the NIA is going to base its investigations on, and of course justify the links to ISIS, which it has claimed in the government notification, and of course it will be the burden of proof raised on the prosecution. So case number 2, Arunima did touch upon it. We'll go back to her again and get more details on this. This is the second case, which is the investigation of the NIA and the Delhi Police Special Cell. Now, in this case, this is an ISIS module that was busted in Kannur in Kerala. 8 suspects linked to the PFI and its affiliates. These people held meetings to quote-unquote save Indian Muslims. The PFI leader Shamir motivated members to join ISIS. Terror suspects planned to get ISIS training in Syria. Shahjahan, Shabir, Manaf and Shajil attempted to even enter Syria. PFI member Mustafa arranged for the fake passports. So, Arunima, here, this is yet another group, again associated with the PFI, again influenced by ISIS, and they all wanted to go and serve in Syria.
Yes, and I'm just reading out portions which clearly establish, as per investigators, the linkage between somebody who was radicalized enough to want to travel to Syria and the Popular Front of India. What is it that the investigators say? They say in the Shahjahan case, who was a member of the National Democratic Front, NDF, let me remind our viewers, was a predecessor of the Popular Front of India, the previous avatar of PFI. He gradually got indoctrinated by the NDF leaders, came in contact with local PFI leaders. When NDF turned its form into PFI, this man came in contact with PFI leaders like Harish, Shabir, Manaf, Mustafa, Sadiq, Shajil and others. These are all people who have been named accused in this case for indoctrination. He used to attend all PFI meetings in 2008 where discussions were made on atrocities that were being committed on Muslims by non-believers in India and other parts of the world. Particularly Shamir, who was then the divisional president of the local unit of PFI, indoctrinated Shahjahan with ISIS ideology. So this was not just about discussion of alleged injustice being committed on the Muslim community. They were being deliberately indoctrinated with ISIS ideology. After the declaration of caliphate by Abu Bakr Baghdadi of ISIS, Shamir motivated Shahjahan to go for hijrah as per Hadith and Quran for waging jihad, as directed by Shamir, who was already in Syria. Shahjahan, along with his wife and 2 sons, went to Malaysia in October 2016 and then from there to Syria. So that is the level of indoctrination and recruitment for ISIS that NIA investigation has found out. That's what NIA is alleging as far as PFI's role in terror conspiracy is concerned.
Now, just read the last paragraph. That's all the more interesting in this, Arunima. They say that in Malaysia, once they went to Malaysia, Shah Jahan, his wife, and he took his two children, two sons also there. There they were met by another person, Rashid.
Yes.
And they further moved from Iran to Iran from Malaysia. In Iran, Shajil and his family and Mildaj joined the group via Mangalore, Dubai, Iran, then further proceeded to Istanbul, Turkey. So this is like an organized, established network to export cadre from here to go and join the Daesh.
Absolutely, and this is the case where I was talking to you about the role of a police man as well. If you see that list of accused there, one of the names that has come up, other than of course Rashid and others, one of the name that has come up is that of a head constable K. Murugan, who's charge sheeted and prosecution has been recommended, and the charge against him is that he criminally conspired for arranging Indian passport. Now his case could well be that he was not aware of where Shah Jahan was going and for what purpose, but nonetheless the fact that a head constable of Indian police is trying to arrange for a fake passport and a fake name for somebody tells you how much Popular Front of India was playing with the minds of people.
Now, now this investigation also goes on to say that one of them was actually deported. He was sent back to India, he was arrested. This was a law enforcement agencies of Turkey apprehended Shah Jahan and deported to India on February 10, 2017. However, Abdul Manaf managed to cross the border and get in from Turkey into Syria. So they are actively like a feeder source, Patikrit Pine. The PFI was a feeder source.
Yes, of course. In fact, if you look at it, Anand, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can. Go ahead, please.
If you if you look at it, there was this another person who was working on behalf of ISIS to actually rope in people to join ISIS. See, if you look at PFI, individuals going to Turkey and then taking the transit from Turkey to Syria, even the ISIS cohorts in Syria, where Turkey would not have allowed them unless they have an institutional backup through an organization whom they trust. And that's where I think PFI role comes in, because without the backing of PFI, they would not have allowed individuals to go, because they would also have the fear of their, the counterparts infiltrating their organization. And if you look at the sophistication with which things happened in case of within India, in terms of mobilizing, in terms of indoctrinating, and then arranging for the passports and then sending it to Istanbul, that shows that PFI, an organization and its umbrella organizations, were very much active into it. Otherwise, something like this simply cannot happen. You simply cannot get hold of somebody and tomorrow and ask him to go and fight for ISIS. It would simply not happen. And of course, PFI is a Wahhabi organization. There is no denial that there is enough trail to prove that they have been receiving funds from the Middle East for these ulterior objectives, which is about creating a Sharia law. And for that, definitely, they have been sending their people to fight for that same.
The thing is, how are they able to radicalize Indian citizens in Kerala to an extent where they thought that they have to take their wife and children also to go and serve for the cause of the Daesh? A proscribed organization with even nations in the Gulf have rejected. How is it that they were able to do this and then still stay under the radar and portray themselves as a very, very benign organization which has got no ulterior or nefarious motives or intent? That is shocking, absolutely shocking. Even as Shashikanji, former DGP Punjab, joins us this evening, we got more news coming through. This is the third case. The third case, one of the many cases, 3 cases that we've been able to get access through. Arunima has been able to get us these details, where the link between PFI and the ISIS is established, and the investigation authorities are going to present these matters in court to make a case that the PFI was actively not just pushing ISIS ideology, it was also sending cadre to fight for the Daesh, and they had similar intentions, or they identified with that thought process. ISIS cell that was busted in the Valapattanam in Kerala. The suspect Hamza plotted to recruit Kerala youth to ISIS. Hamza planned ISIS recruitment with top PFI leaders. Plot to join ISIS after taking refuge in other nations. Suspects entered Syria via Saudi Arabia, Malaysia and Turkey. 2 PFI leaders, Safwan and Manaf, were killed in Syria. 5 suspects, including Hamza, nabbed by Kerala cops before joining the ISIS. This is the story that Arunima, again, feeder source, top PFI leaders involved, active recruitment job, using multiple countries as point of entry. So go on a travel visa or a visit visa to this country. So it looks individual, sporadic, nondescript, but eventually converge somewhere from where you can cross the border and enter into Syria. So that is namely Turkey.
Yes, and we've spoken about Hamza briefly at the start of the show, but just to detail what the NIA investigation says. It says Hamza was a hardcore Salafi follower who used to preach in support of not just ISIS but also Taliban. After declaration of the Islamic Caliphate in Iraq and Syria, Hamza convinced at least 2 people. Evidence has come up of at least 2 people, could be more. Muhammad Samir and Abdul Manaf, both of whom were members of the Popular Front of India, allegedly, and they were convinced about the need to perform hijrah from the land of quote-unquote infidels. Muhammad Samir indoctrinated in ISIS ideology, and he passed on that ideology, that indoctrination, to others like Shah Jahan VK. We just spoke about Shah Jahan in our previous conversation. And one more suspect who goes by the name of Mohammad Shajil. They then moved to Saudi Arabia. We've spoken about the Turkey, Syria, Malaysia route. There was a second route opened up via Saudi Arabia. So there was various fronts that were being opened up for these indoctrinated individuals, and they were being told to go to Syria. If they were being deported, it's not that they were giving up their ideology or returning to normal life. They were sleeper cells, and the suspicion is that they were then being kept ready to strike terror against India and the people of this country.
Right. Arunima, thank you for your inputs. I have limited time in this segment, so just quickly get Shashikantji's thoughts. Shashikantji, one, look at the language that they use. And that this is the language of those who are so rabid and so radical that they believe that no other religion or no other way of life should even subsist, persist, or exist. And it all has to be replaced. So this is radical ideology. This is pan-Islamist ideology. They were pushing this. They were recruiting for outfits like the Daesh. But yet they were able to operate and spread their operations across the country. These are cases from 2016, 2017.
Yeah, you're right. In fact, I'm not surprised at all, because I have been following ISIS and other organizations for a long, long time. These guys, like said, 2016, yes, there were reports. I remember when I was following up these organizations, there have been reports in the national media also, and that lots of these persons were going there. Now, the question which comes up is the continuous process of their radicalization. Now, again, I'll take you back to the Simi. We said that their motive, their ideal, the thing they're working for is Islam, to ensure that India becomes an Islamic country and just become jihad. So all these things, any person who has been following these organizations for a long time, these things were clear, and now they are becoming clearer because now there's an NIA crackdown, and I'm sure that they're getting all hard evidence to be produced in the court, and whenever they go to the tribunals, etc. also. Thank you.
No, but this is, again, there are two aspects. How do you defend this and how do you explain this? The court is also likely to ask the prosecution, if they were active in 2016, 2017, why didn't you move to ban them? Why didn't you crack down upon them then? Because so far, even Kerala has not moved to say ban PFI. So law and order is a state subject. That could be an excuse, but is that a valid one? Secondly, that there could be organizations could turn around and say, so what if 10 of them went? We have an organization of 15,000 members. If 10 or 15 or 20 of them turn out rabid, you can't blame it on us. Is that viable?
Sorry, I couldn't get that.
No, is that believable? Will you explain? Will you accept an explanation like that or a defense like that?
Look, the thing is that even if one person is doing it, that shows in what direction they are moving. The NIA only has to prove the continuous process of indoctrination, their links with such organizations which have been openly standing for and calling for a Islamic revolution within the country. And let me tell you once again, now this is the time when I'm sure NIA is working in that direction. If they get in touch with the Interpol and all these organizations, because I have been reading it all along, they'll find that lots of these persons. And again, this, whenever anything happens, this is just a chance which comes up, a chance revelation that, okay, now this has happened, I mean, actually, nobody can presume what all has been happening in the country. So once one evidence, a single solitary evidence, even it comes up, we have to work out and then take out the entire chain thereof. Thank you.
No, we have to weed them out. But also, Pathikrit Pine, when these people associated with the PFI were leaving for Daesh, PFI members were facilitating the departure. Do you recall any time public statements coming out from members of the PFI saying that anybody and everybody who joins the Daesh is rejected and they are not members of the PFI? Did they ever openly come out and criticize Daesh? Did they ever openly come out and criticize Taliban or the Al Qaeda?
No, never, never. I have not heard of anything like that. And even if if I'm not aware of something like that, then possibly they have used it in case they have done it to actually camouflage their real intentions. I think today there is enough trail and evidence to prove that they have been actively supporting, collaborating, and actually doing the logistical work of sending people from here to Middle East. Secondly, when it comes to the previous question, Anand, that you asked, I think till the time it remains a local threat. PFI for a long time was a local threat in Kerala. Then probably there was no need for the center to step in. Today, it has become a pan-India threat, and that is the reason. That is the logic that the NIA would put it in the court that it is no more a local ragtag, law and order issue. It is a national security threat, and that's why PFI has been banned by the central government. Third, I think, Anand, today many of the state-level political parties might be heaving a sigh of relief because on their own they were very reluctant to do anything against PFI, and they wanted desperately the center to do something. And that is where, states like Kerala, Tamil Nadu, all across, there are 1,300 FIRs against PFI. None of these states ever actually came up and stated that unless the push came to a shove. Once in Kerala, it was the left front members were also getting hacked to death that the left front government started saying something. And that is where I think today NIA can go and say that it is no more a law and order petty issue. It is a militant Islamist organized terror gang with links to terror organizations. And that's why it is very much needed to be banned.
No, why does it have to be a national malaise for even the center to get involved or the courts to be convinced? Why is it that anybody who is pushing something which is against the very culture of this nation, the ethos of this nation, which is attacking the very DNA of our country and what we stand for, not as a civilization but also for the world, then that should have been nipped in the bud. Why allow them to grow and fester and give them 20 years of uninhibited run before you decide to crack down upon them? That's the larger question. I thank you, Shashikant Sinhaji and Pathikrit Pine, for joining us. Arunima, thank you for your inputs. We're going to take a very short break, but on the way out, as you stay with us through the break, get on to IndianoftheYear.com. Look at all the nominees who are there on Indian of the Year Startup and pick your unicorn. Pick the one you believe should win Indian of the Year Startup 2022. Stay with us.
For our audiences, because we haven't done that yet, but tell our audiences exactly what was said, and then tell us what's the controversy since. Do we have a response from Kaur herself? Has she addressed the media?
For women empowerment, and the program was called Enhancing Power of Women in Bihar. So this was an Sashakt Mahila Prosper Bihar is what the event was. But when the girl, who is a teenager, and it was an event in which class 9-10 girls had participated in the event, and we can see on the stage these girls were sitting and they were asking questions with the IS officer, who is also the chairman MD of Women Committee in Bihar, Women Development Corporation. So when the question was asked by the girl that why can't the government give free sanitary pad which just comes in 20-30 rupees, it was a shocker from the IS officer when she said that today you are asking for sanitary pad, tomorrow you will ask for jeans, and after that you will ask for shoes, and after marriage you will ask for condoms and other stuff which will be required for family planning. So these kinds of statements came out from Harjot Kaur, who herself is a woman and she is head of Women Committee and Women Development Corporation of the state. So this was not taken well by the students. In fact, they argued with the IS officer that why does the politician come and ask for vote? Then she replied that if you don't want to give vote, then don't give. Become Pakistan. Who told you to give vote? So this kind of, it showed arrogance of the IS officer. In fact, many others asked several questions regarding jobs and all. They said that the IS officer said that why don't you do something by your own? Why are you dependent on others? So it was kind of event that was meant for motivation, but this all went wrong when the IS officer...
Okay, Saurabh, we actually aren't being able to hear you too clearly, so we'll try to improve the connection we have with you. Till then, we told you right now that we'd take you to hear exactly what the IS officer had to say, because part of what she said, I believe, later is that it's been a misrepresentation of what actually took place. So take a look at a bite. This is exactly what she had to say at the event.
इस मांग का कोई अंत है? 20 और 30 रुपए का विस्पर भी दे सकते हैं, कल को जीन पैंट भी दे सकते हैं, परसों को सुंदर जूते क्यों नहीं दे सकते हैं, नर्सों को वो नहीं कर सकते, और अंत में जब परिवार नियोजन की बात आएगी तो निरोध भी मुफ्त में ही देना पड़ेगा, है ना? सब कुछ मुफ्त में लेने की आदत क्यों है? सरकार के हित में जो सरकार को देना चाहिए वो सरकार से लेने के लिए तुमको जरूरत क्या है? अपने आप अपने को इतना संपन्न करो.
Okay, should there be stronger action against this IAS officer, and what does accountability in this case actually look like? You can call us in on 01204341895. We'd love to hear what you have to think of when it comes to this incident. Remember, this very senior IAS officer is also a senior Bihar official. Apart from being a senior Bihar official in Bihar itself, worryingly, she is the Principal Secretary of the Women and Child's Welfare Department, and she heads the Bihar Women and Child Development Corporation. That's why, in particular, these remarks are attracting the ire of people across the country. Now, in particular, apart from this, we also are given to believe that she was asked about repairs required when it came to the girls' bathroom at that same event. And to that answer too, she asked, do women and men in your home use the same bathroom? Why do you keep asking for things? So it seems this IAS officer has made 2 or 3 comments of a very similar nature, in which she's again and again responding by saying, why are you asking for so much? Why can't you be self-sufficient? Now, of course, what we'd like to talk more about also is the comparison made in that answer between, for example, a condom and a sanitary napkin. We obviously are all aware of the differences, particularly the fact that periods are obviously involuntary. They come to a woman once a month, whether or not she likes it, and therefore they should obviously be considered in a different category for something like, as we're talking about, condoms. Just to give you an example, there are countries around the world that already provide tampons and sanitary napkins for free. So it isn't entirely unprecedented when this young student is asking this question. Anyway, to go to what Harjot Kaur Bamra, who is the chairman, the IAS officer who's made this statement, to go to what she had to say about this entire issue, she's gone ahead and said that it's all false, malicious and wrong reporting of the event. She's also said, I'm known as one of the most vociferous champions of women's rights and empowerment. She said that some mischievous elements might have resorted to these attempts to malign my reputation. However, what's rather worrying, as we were telling you a little while earlier about this video and the event at which they took place, is that this entire event, this entire interaction took place at a workshop that was organized by the State Women and Child Development Corporation in association with UNICEF. Now, I'm happy to say we do have callers calling us in, bringing us their opinion.
Back on, ladies and gentlemen, with the spotlight turned towards Kashi, where in the entire matter of Shringar Gauri and the entire Gyanvapi Parisar, there was an application filed by the Hindu Paksh where they wanted carbon dating or any other form of trying to establish not just what is there in those areas, visible and invisible deities, but more importantly, the age of the structure which is present there. The Hindu Paksh believes it is Shivling, it is the Adi Vishweshwar, which is there in the area that was designated a Wazu Khana. The Muslim Paksh believes it's a fountain. Now, ahead of the hearing today, the Muslim Paksh, CNN News 18 was able to access the application or the counter of the Muslim Paksh, which said that this area is already cordoned off or blocked by the Supreme Court. This is actually a fountain. There is no need for carbon dating or any other kind of measurement because it is it is not required. They've also specifically tried to put their finger on carbon dating, saying that carbon dating is done on something which had life and does not have, or to prove whether something had life or not. So it does not apply here. However, the Hindu Paksh had modified their application and said any form, even if it is not carbon dating, any form of a scientific experimentation or ratification which can determine what that structure is, the age of that structure and the nature of that structure, and that they said could be done only by the ASI or the Archaeological Survey of India. So that's where things stand. Let's go across to the petitioners from the Hindu Paksh, Vishnu Shankar Jain and Hari Shankar Jain ji. Namaste, gentlemen. Thank you very, very much. What happened in court today, Vishnu Shankar Jain?
See, today we had already moved an application and argued it on 22nd of September, where we had asked for a scientific investigation to ascertain that how old and what is the age and nature of the Shivlingam which has been found on 16th of May. So on that application, the court had invited objections from the Muslim side, and the Muslim side had submitted their objection today. And the interesting part of this is that they had said in the court today that it's a fountain, and in their affidavit also before the honorable court, they have said that this is a fountain. So now the question which arises for consideration is this: that if one side of the matter is saying it's a fountain, and the other side believes that it's a Shivlingam which is found. So what's the mode of ascertainment of what is the nature of this object, whether it's a Shivling or it's a fountain? How can it be ascertained? Our respectful submission was that it can be expert through an expert opinion under section 45 of the Indian Evidence Act, and therefore the court must call upon the ASI and constitute a commission of the Archaeological Survey of India, including the petitioners, to go and see that by which modern technology the age and nature of this Shivlingam can be ascertained. And for that matter, the Honorable Court has reserved its verdict, and on 7th of October, the Honorable Court will pass an order on our application seeking an ASI survey of the Shivlingam which has been found.
But Hari Shankar Jain ji, the Muslim Paksh says this area has been blocked, marked out by the Supreme Court. So the Varanasi court is not at liberty to decide what can be done there. Is that a just observation, or do you believe one side says Shivling, another side says fountain, only ASI can decide?
I pointed out to the court that on 17th May, the court has clearly passed an order that district judge will be empowered to decide all the applications. This order was passed on 20th May. All ancillary applications, all miscellaneous applications, whichever may be filed, and entire case has been transferred to the district judge. Therefore, court is competent to decide all the matters, and everything which was said by Muslim side and also by one of the plaintiffs, number one, they colluded and their stand was same, and one, that this application filed by us be dismissed. And I also pointed out that Order 26, Rule 10A of the CPC clearly provides that scientific investigation can be made, can be ordered by the court, and that can be made. Number two, the Shivlingam which has been found, one party says it is otherwise, it is fountain. Naturally, the court or advocates or anybody or no evidence can be produced. It is only this scientific investigation which will prove what it is. Number two, kindly consider, I want to clarify that large number of hue and cry has been made, and it said that we want the Shivlingam be damaged for carbon dating. No, this is absolutely wrong. We have never said that a carbon dating of any type which may damage Shivlingam be conducted. The only thing is scientific investigation and other constituents of Shivlingam by GPR survey or otherwise. That is
So-
misinterpreted. And I want
so-
to make it clear that we are doing for the mandir, for the temple, and there is no question, and never we can allow the Shivlingam be damaged in any way. And our prayer is very limited and very clear that this area be investigated scientifically by SI. SI has the power, SI has the instrument, as has been said by Honorable Supreme Court in Anajudha case, and they have written that the ASI has the power to conduct every type of investigation.
So
Thereby,
you are
I
not
move
saying
this application, and that
you
is
are not
maintainable.
decide. So you are not saying any particular method, but you are saying it should be a scientific investigation. Only science and facts can decide whose argument or whose claim is right, and that
Yes.
can be justified. And that power is with the ASI.
Exactly.
Now,
Exactly.
Harishankar Jainji, now please tell me, what does the order of the Allahabad High Court have any bearing in that case of the old case which they have called the 1991 case, where yesterday the court has asked the DG ASI to file a detailed reply in this matter, because this is the original case, Lord Vishweshwar versus Gyanvapi case, where the Sunni Waqf Board had gone and moved in challenging the April 21 order of a Varanasi local court ordering ASI survey of this entire Gyanvapi site. And the Allahabad High Court said this is a matter of national importance, so the DG ASI give a detailed affidavit. Do you think that will have a? They have given him
I
time
want to
till
point
they have given time till 18th October. Ji.
I want to point out that that matter is different from the present one. Here, Sri Lingam has been found only on 16th May, and that is regarding Adi Visheshwar, which lies at different place. Here is the Sri Lingam found on 16th, and I pointed out just now that on 20th May, the Honorable Supreme Court is clearly passed an order. The case is transferred to London District Judge, who will be competent to decide all the applications, whichever is given. Therefore, the High Court proceeding which is pending has no impact on the proceeding which is going on before London District Judge. It is being governed by the order of the Honorable Supreme Court, and Supreme Court will prevail. Number two, there is no clash between the two proceedings. That proceeding is on different side. Here, very limited prayer regarding Shivlingam and what is beneath Shivlingam. That is very limited prayer. That is there. Therefore, you cannot equate both the things together. The High Court proceeding different, and here is the proceeding different. And
True.
again, I want
Ji.
to insist that Honorable Supreme Court has permitted by order dated 20th May that district judge will be entitled, will be competent to decide every application. Therefore, there should be no confusion at all.
So there are powers with the district judge to decide, because the Honorable Supreme, and the other aspect which you are saying, and Vishnu Shankar Jain, is that the biggest difference, that one is a claim that you get a survey done to determine what is there. The other one, that is your petition or your demand, is based on the Advocate Commissioner's survey report, because there were certain objects found there and there were certain structures found there. There were also idols that were found, seen and unseen, visible and invisible. Both aspects were covered in that detailed 9 to 12 page survey report. So are you basing your demand application on that, what was seen there, and say now let's do more scientific investigation to confirm what was seen there?
See, Anand, you are absolutely right. And as my senior, Mr. Harishankar Jain, rightly pointed out, that both the cases stand on two different footings. The initial suit, which was filed in 1991, in that ASI survey was ordered for the entire area. And let me tell you, when the ASI survey was ordered, the Shivlingam was not found. Against that, the Muslim side went in appeal before the Allahabad High Court. The Allahabad High Court has stayed the order of the lower court. After that, our suit was filed. In our suit, advocate commissioner was appointed, and in the advocate commissioner's report on 16th of May, Shivlingam was found. And once Shivlingam was found, the order of the trial court sealed that Shivlingam area. The entire Vazukna was sealed, and that order was passed by the Honorable Supreme Court on 20th of May. And the Honorable Supreme Court, as my senior was pointed out, on 20th of May has absolutely made it clear that the entire trial is transferred from the civil judge senior division to the district judge, and the district judge will be entitled and empowered and will have all the jurisdiction to
Right.
decide all the applications and the entire trial. So now the point is that we are asking for ASI survey and the scientific investigation of the Shivlingam. Now, this demand is completely different from the title suit, which is pending before the Allahabad High Court. And in our suit, the application of 711 has been dismissed. And this is a suit for worshipper by the worshippers seeking worship
Correct.
rights of visible and invisible deities. So now the point is our suit proceedings have not been stayed. And let me tell you also, if you remember, that we had moved an application by these 4 women devotees in the Supreme Court
Yes.
seeking carbon dating and scientific investigation. The Supreme Court, we withdrew our petition before the Supreme Court because there was an observation that the suit is pending before the trial court. So you move before the trial court. So in terms of those orders, we have filed our application before the trial court. So the trial court is, I must tell you with lot of clarity on your channel that the trial court is completely empowered to decide this application and to decide the entire matter. There is no stay on the trial court. Rather, the order of the Supreme Court of 20th of May says that the trial should go on before the district judge and he is permitted to decide all the applications. So this is an application not for the entire area. Let me also clarify. The
Right.
ASI survey has only been asked for the Shivlingam which has been found on 16th of May. I am not suggesting here any mode or technology. I am not an expert in the field. The Archaeological Survey of India will tell and determine how this survey has to be conducted. They are the experts in the field, and as per Section 22 of the Archaeological Survey of India Act 1958, they can determine how the age of the Shivlingam can be ascertained.
Right. Right. So fair point made there, by Harishankar Jain ji and Vishnu Jain ji. The order has been reserved. It will be pronounced on the 7th of October. It's all down, depends upon the district judge. We'll keep close tabs. Thank you very much for making the time and telling us what happened in court and how the arguments were made. Thank you. We're going to take a very, very short break. Stay with us.
Asked several questions regarding jobs and all. They said that the IS officer said that why don't you do something by your own? Why are you dependent on others? So it was kind of event that was meant for motivation, but this all went wrong when the IS officer.
Okay, Saurabh, we actually aren't being able to hear you too clearly, so we'll try to improve the connection we have with you. Till then, we told you right now that we'd take you to hear exactly what the IS officer had to say, because part of what she said, I believe, later is that it's been a misrepresentation of what actually took place. So take a look at a bite. This is exactly what she had to say at the event.
इस मांग का कोई अंत है? 20 और 30 रुपए का विस्पर भी दे सकते हैं, कल को जीन पैंट भी दे सकते हैं, परसों को सुंदर जूते क्यों नहीं दे सकते हैं, नर्सों को वो नहीं कर सकते, और अंत में जब परिवार नियोजन की बात आएगी तो निरोध भी मुफ्त में ही देना पड़ेगा, है ना? सब कुछ मुफ्त में लेने की आदत क्यों है? सरकार के हित में जो सरकार को देना चाहिए वो सरकार से लेने के लिए तुमको जरूरत क्या है? अपने आप अपने को इतना संपन्न करो.
Okay, should there be stronger action against this IAS officer, and what does accountability in this case actually look like? You can call us in on 01204341895. We'd love to hear what you have to think of when it comes to this incident. Remember, this very senior IAS officer is also a senior Bihar official. Apart from being a senior Bihar official in Bihar itself, worryingly, she is the Principal Secretary of the Women and Child's Welfare Department, and she heads the Bihar Women and Child Development Cooperation. That's why, in particular, these remarks are attracting the ire of people across the country. Now, in particular, apart from this, we also are given to believe that she was asked about repairs required when it came to the girls' bathroom at that same event. And to that answer too, she asked, do women and men in your home use the same bathroom? Why do you keep asking for things? So it seems this IAS officer has made two or three comments of a very similar nature, in which she's again and again responding by saying, why are you asking for so much? Why can't you be self-sufficient? Now, of course, what we'd like to talk more about also is the comparison made in that answer between, for example, a condom and a sanitary napkin. We obviously are all aware of the differences, particularly the fact that periods are obviously involuntary. They come to a woman once a month, whether or not she likes it, and therefore they should obviously be considered in a different category for something like, as we're talking about, condoms. Just to give you an example, there are countries around the world that already provide tampons and sanitary napkins for free. So it isn't entirely unprecedented when this young student is asking this question. Anyway, to go to what Harjot Kaur Bamra, who is the chairman, the IAS officer who's made this statement, to go to what she had to say about this entire issue, she's gone ahead and said that it's all false, malicious and wrong reporting of the event. She's also said, I'm known as one of the most vociferous champions of women's rights and empowerment. She said that some mischievous elements might have resorted to these attempts to malign my reputation. However, what's rather worrying, as we were telling you a little while earlier about this video and the event at which they took place, is that this entire event, this entire interaction took place at a workshop that was organized by the State Women and Child Development Corporation in association with UNICEF. Now, I'm happy to say we do have callers calling us in, bringing us their opinion. Again, to all of you, you can call us in. The number is on the bottom of your screens right now, 0120-434-1895. Do give us a call. We'd love to know where you stand on this. Right now, we have Hariharan. He's calling us in from Pune. Sir, thank you so much for staying on the line. Sir, what is your opinion about this comment that's come in from this senior IAS officer that has already garnered quite a bit of criticism across the state?
You see, the present circumstance, this remark seems to be sensational. But understand this very clearly. Nothing comes free from the government. Somebody is putting up the bill for somebody to get the benefit. There is something called right for the people to have whatever they want. So the people should always to get empowered, and they must fulfill their needs by their own means. It is not that we can do time immemorial, go on giving money to the people who do not have anything to live on and obstruct our developmental work which will benefit all. So my view is the IAS officer could have suggested, yes, you can start your own small industry or smaller outing in which you can manufacture at a less cost. Government can help you. But saying that government has to give everything free, it is not good.
Senior IAS officer snubbing a young girl student when she asks why the government doesn't provide students with sanitary napkins. The IAS officer has received heavy criticism for her response.
Is this just a convenient political argument that because PFI has been banned, so RSS must also be banned? After coming to power in 2013, Siddaramaiah government approved the dropping of 176 cases filed against 1,600 PFI activists.
You cannot, on the one hand, empower a nation with F-16s for anti-terror ops, while saying, hey, we found you patronizing Ayman al-Zawahiri. The Haqqani network has been propped up as 50% of the government in Taliban in Afghanistan by Pakistanis.
The Congress High Command completely underestimated how much support Ashok Gehlot has within the legislature party and completely overestimated Sachin Pilot's support within the CLP.
Central Bureau of Investigation arrested Vijay Nair, close aide of Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia. And as per the agency, Vijay Nair received 6% commission from liquor barons. Can the Aam Aadmi Party continue to call this witch hunt or vendetta?
Were sitting and they were asking questions with the IS officer who is also the chairman MD of Women Committee in Bihar, Women Development Corporation. So when the question was asked by the girl that why can't the government give free sanitary pad which just comes in 20-30 rupees, it was a shocker from the IS officer when she said that today you are asking for sanitary pad, tomorrow you will ask for jeans, and after that you will ask for shoes, and after marriage you will ask for condoms and other stuff which will be required for family planning. So these kinds of statements came out from Harjot Kaur, who herself is a woman and she is head of Women Committee and Women Development Corporation of the state. So this was not taken well by the students. In fact, they argued with the IS officer that why does the politician come and ask for vote? Then she replied that if you don't want to give vote, then don't give. Become Pakistan. Who told you to give vote? So this kind of, it showed arrogance of the IS officer. In fact, many others asked several questions regarding jobs and all. They said that the IS officer said that why don't you do something by your own? Why are you dependent on others? So it was kind of event that was meant for motivation, but this all went wrong when the IS officer...
Okay, Saurabh, we actually aren't being able to hear you too clearly, so we'll try to improve the connection we have with you. Till then, we told you right now that we'd take you to hear exactly what the IS officer had to say, because part of what she said, I believe, later is that it's been a misrepresentation of what actually took place. So take a look at a bite. This is exactly what she had to say at the event.
इस मांग का कोई अंत है? 20 और 30 रुपए का विस्पर भी दे सकते हैं, कल को जीन पैंट भी दे सकते हैं, परसों को सुंदर जूते क्यों नहीं दे सकते हैं, नर्सों को वो नहीं कर सकते, और अंत में जब परिवार नियोजन की बात आएगी तो निरोध भी मुफ्त में ही देना पड़ेगा, है ना? सब कुछ मुफ्त में लेने की मैम, जो सरकार के हित में जो सरकार को देना चाहिए वो सरकार से लेने के लिए तुमको जरूरत क्या है? अपने आप अपने को इतना संपन्न करो.
Okay, should there be stronger action against this IAS officer, and what does accountability in this case actually look like? You can call us in on 01204341895. We'd love to hear what you have to think of when it comes to this incident. Remember, this very senior IAS officer is also a senior Bihar official. Apart from being a senior Bihar official in Bihar itself, worryingly, she is the Principal Secretary of the Women and Child's Welfare Department, and she heads the Bihar Women and Child Development Corporation. That's why, in particular, these remarks are attracting the ire of people across the country. Now, in particular, apart from this, we also are given to believe that she was asked about repairs required when it came to the girls' bathroom at that same event. And to that answer too, she asked, do women and men in your home use the same bathroom? Why do you keep asking for things? So it seems this IAS officer has made 2 or 3 comments of a very similar nature, in which she's again and again responding by saying, why are you asking for so much? Why can't you be self-sufficient? Now, of course, what we'd like to talk more about also is the comparison made in that answer between, for example, a condom and a sanitary napkin. We obviously are all aware of the differences, particularly the fact that periods are obviously involuntary. They come to a woman once a month, whether or not she likes it, and therefore they should obviously be considered in a different category for something like, as we're talking about, condoms. Just to give you an example, there are countries around the world that already provide tampons and sanitary napkins for free. So it isn't entirely unprecedented when this young student is asking this question. Anyway, to go to what Harjot Kaur Bamra, who is the chairman, the IAS officer who's made this statement, to go to what she had to say about this entire issue, she's gone ahead and said that it's all false, malicious and wrong reporting of the event. She's also said, I'm known as one of the most vociferous champions of women's rights and empowerment. She said that some mischievous elements might have resorted to these attempts to malign my reputation. However, what's rather worrying, as we were telling you a little while earlier about this video and the event at which they took place, is that this entire event, this entire interaction took place at a
Back on the Nation at 5 with politics. What's happening within the Congress, to be or not to be with Ashok Gehlot? That decision will be made in the next 2 days, says KC Venugopal, Congress General Secretary, saying that the decision on Ashok Gehlot will be taken within 2 days. Meanwhile, sources are also telling CNN News 18 that yet another CLP meeting is likely where there could just be a one-line resolution that will be made, that the final decision rests with the interim president, Mrs. Sonia Gandhi. Pallavi Ghosh joins us with more details. Yes, Pallavi, you can tell our viewers I told you so, because you said this last week.
Well, there's no closure on this entire Rajasthan crisis saga very, very clearly. So it's not a done deal yet. What sources are certainly telling us is, and something which was indicated by Mr. KC Venugopal as well, who's been huddled in a meeting with Sonia Gandhi since morning, that there would be a clarity on who's going to be the chief minister in a day or two. However, the caveat over here is that let's not presume that it's not going to be Ashok Gehlot. But what they're planning is to have one CLP meeting in a couple of days, possibly. A one-line resolution is going to be passed, which is going to leave the decision to Sonia Gandhi, and she's going to take the final call. That's something which Ashok Gehlot also said in his soundbite after he met her and came out. So what essentially means is mulling of options. There's a section of the Congress party and very senior ones who feel it's time to teach Ashok Gehlot a lesson, if I'm going to use their words. And what that would mean is that he doesn't get to become the president, but at the same time, he doesn't get to remain the chief minister. But the problem over here, Anand, is that most of the MLAs, as of now, are with Ashok Gehlot. He has that kind of a grip on them. So is it going to be an easy call to take? I'm afraid not.
Well, but what happens next, and why did Ashok Gehlot play truant like this? Was the Rajasthan chief ministerial post too important for him to let go of? And what are the options? Among the current options, none wield the kind of clout and power that an Ashok Gehlot does. He is a chief minister of a state. He's got 90 MLAs backing him. He's firmly placed. So among the other contenders or the options, all of them don't seem to have the kind of ability that an Ashok Gehlot could muster. So what will Sonia Gandhi do now?
That's just about anybody's guess. I agree with you. Ashok Gehlot had all the boxes tick marked in his favor. I mean, he would have more acceptability among the cadre, seasoned and shrewd politician. Many felt he would be the right one to take on the BJP in many which ways. Belongs to the Mali community. Very shrewd, plays his cards well. Also seen as a troubleshooter. Digvijay Singh, many feel, doesn't bring that on the table. I think it's a situation which clearly was an intelligence failure on the part of the Gandhis. They never saw this coming, which is why that hurriedly called CLP meeting took place. We saw what really happened. It was with a sense of anger, I think, when Sonia Gandhi told Ashok Gehlot that she doesn't think he should be contesting for the top post. But the other big problem and headache remains, and that is about who's going to be the chief minister, and can she really afford to sideline Gehlot? And before I come back to you, Anand, I think it just bears out once again the weakness of the Gandhis and the fact that they're losing the grip over the party.
Yes, absolutely. Why is it and how is it that you are not able to control your flock and your whip doesn't work? How is it that somebody can be brazen enough to come back to you and tell you, listen, I will decide who will be the chief minister, not you. I will decide anybody but this man, that is Sachin Pilot, and I will ensure. And when there is no assurance on that front, you say, I don't want to be the Congress president. Do whatever you want. I'm going to continue to be Rajasthan chief minister. We've run out of time on this edition of The Nation at 5. Pallavi, thank you. Winding up on that note, Viewpoint with Zaka right now.
Good evening, this is Viewpoint. I'm Zaka Jacob. Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot has ruled himself out from the race to be the next Congress president. Now with this, the so-called Gandhi family candidate seems to have bowed out, which means the race now boils down to between Digvijay Singh and Shashi Tharoor. They are the only two people who have officially said that they are standing to be the next Congress president. The nominations close tomorrow. The question that's being raised is this: who then becomes the establishment candidate? How did the High Command completely overestimate its own power with loyalists like Gehlot? And what happens to Sachin Pilot's dreams of becoming Chief Minister? But first, the story of how Ashok Gehlot, after a meeting with Sonia Gandhi today, ruled himself out from the Congress president's race.
कल परसों की घटना हुई है और मेरी मॉरल रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी थी कि वो प्रस्ताव पास होता, तो मैंने तय किया है अब मैं इस माहौल के अंदर चुनाव नहीं लड़ूंगा।
After finding himself out of favor with the Gandhis, the one-time favourite has ruled himself out of Congress's president race. 4 days after a rebellion in the party's Rajasthan unit over Ashok Gehlot being possibly replaced by his arch-rival Sachin Pilot as Chief Minister, Gehlot landed up in Delhi to meet Sonia Gandhi, who advised him not to contest.
मैंने सोनिया जी से भी सॉरी फील किया है, माफी मांगी है, तो मेरी मॉरल रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि एक मुख्यमंत्री होने के बावजूद भी मैं एक प्रस्ताव, एक लाइन का जो हमारी परंपरा है, पहली बार वो परंपरा के अंतर्गत वो प्रस्ताव पास नहीं होगा।
With Gehlot bowing out, the race for a new non-Gandhi Congress president comes down to these two men for now. One is seen as a staunch Gandhi loyalist, the other is a member of the G23. While Shashi Tharoor had already declared his candidature and is expected to file his nomination on Friday, Digvijay Singh finally ended the suspense by picking up the nomination papers.
हम लोगों का पूरा प्रयास रहा कि राहुल जी हमारे नए राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष बने। वो नहीं बनते हैं तो प्रियंका जी बने, लेकिन जब परिवार ने बिल्कुल तय कर दिया कि बिल्कुल हम किसी हालत में नहीं लड़ेंगे चुनाव, तो फिर फील्ड खुली है, जिसको लड़ना है लड़े।
Whether more names will pop up or who will become the Congress president is still a wait-and-watch game. The only thing that's certain is that it's the first time in over 20 years that a Gandhi won't be in the top post. Another person whose fate remains uncertain is Sachin Pilot. He has been long waiting his moment in Rajasthan, but has always been blocked by Team Gehlot. Even after the latest maneuver by Gehlot's MLAs, there was no action taken against the Rajasthan Chief Minister. While Gehlot is out of the Congress president race, he continues to reign over Rajasthan, which means that Pilot has once again been hung out to dry. So is another desert storm only a matter of time? Has the Gandhis' inability to get a grip on the party been exposed once again? And will a new Congress president be able to fix the multitude of problems that the party is facing?
And we've got some very interesting breaking news right at the top of Viewpoint. Now that Gehlot has pulled out of the race to be Congress president, is his job as Rajasthan Chief Minister still in danger? Because is there still hope for Sachin Pilot? KC Venugopal, the Organisation General Secretary of the Congress Party, has come out and said that a decision on the Rajasthan Chief Minister will be taken in the next couple of days. Sources tell CNN News 18 that another CLP meeting is likely to be called in which a one-line resolution could be passed authorizing Sonia Gandhi to decide who will be Chief Minister. Let's play out that soundbite of KC Venugopal and then I'll go across to Pallavi Ghosh.
Congress President is going to be a neutral in this election. Let us wait for the nominations. We will get a clear-cut picture tomorrow evening. No, I cannot say anything. That decision of Chief Minister of Rajasthan will be decided by the Congress President within 1 or 2 days. That's all.
Right, Pallavi Ghosh, so what does this mean? When Ashok Gehlot met Sonia Gandhi earlier this afternoon, came out and said that he's ruling himself out of the Congress President's race, then it seemed like he gets to keep the Chief Minister's job, which is what he perhaps always wanted to do. And then somebody else, whoever has decided to fight for the Congress President's post and goes ahead and wins, will become the Congress President. But now, if KC Venugopal is to be believed, Mr. Gehlot's job as Rajasthan Chief Minister may also not be guaranteed.
And in fact, I think that indication also came in from Mr. Ashok Gehlot when he came out of the meeting with Sonia Gandhi, where he said that a decision on a chief minister is something which is going to be left to Mrs. Gandhi. But I think KC Venugopal saying that becomes even more significant because he's been huddled in a meeting with Sonia Gandhi since morning, and he's of course the organizational general secretary. What we are picking up by way of our indications is that there's no closure to it yet. However, it also doesn't mean that Gehlot is going to be removed immediately as a chief minister. There's a possibility of a CLP CLP meeting, we are told in a couple of days, a one-line resolution will again be passed authorizing Sonia Gandhi to take a final call. See, let's also not forget the Sachin Pilot factor. He's very much sitting over here. He also has asked for time from Sonia Gandhi. He's likely to meet her today or possibly tomorrow morning. And he's also going to make that point that I have been repeatedly assured that I'll become the chief minister. If not now, then what's the point of making me a lame duck chief minister? These are the nitty-gritties. But also, Zaka, the worry is that Gehlot is no Captain Amrinder Singh who was being deserted by his MLAs.
Yeah.
Gehlot has a grip over his MLAs. It's not going to be an easy decision really for Sonia Gandhi to take.
Oh, absolutely. As of last Sunday, when that previous CLP meeting was called for, at least 90 MLAs are supporting Ashok Gehlot. Of course, a lot can change in a week, but we'll leave it at that. We'll see how the story plays out. Pallavi Ghosh, for the moment, many thanks for joining us. Let's open this up. Neeti Jain is BJP spokesperson, Suman C. Raman, political analyst, Advaita Kala, author and political analyst, and Nirja Chaudhary, senior journalist, will also be joining us. Neeti Jain, first things first, you know, the BJP's line of attack against this Congress president election was whoever is going to be the next Congress president is going to be a puppet, is going to be remote controlled by 10 Janpath. And the person most likely to have been seen as a Gandhi loyalist, Ashok Gehlot, has now ruled himself out from that race. So this attack line that, let's say, between a Digvijay Singh and a Shashi Tharoor, and they are the only two known candidates as of today, neither of them would be called a puppet of 10 Janpath?
Are you sure about that, Zaka? Because, see, the point is that for any change to happen, there needs to be an acceptance that something needs to be changed. So when Digvijay ji was just talking, he just said, we want Rahul Gandhi to be the president. If that's not possible, let Priyanka Gandhi be the president. If that is also not possible, then I'll consider getting in somewhere. There is no acceptance. There is no need for a change that any of these people are saying. The people who were looking for a change have been sidelined as a G23 or they have left the party. So these people who are still in the race are the people who have the complete support or at least a confidence of 10 Janpath. I don't see anything.
Let me just qualify why I said what I said. First of all, Mr. Shashi Tharoor was officially part of the G23, so I don't know how much confidence of 10 Janpath he has. And secondly, as far as Mr. Digvijay Singh is concerned, it is true that there was a point of time many years ago where he was very, very close to Rahul Gandhi. The prevailing wisdom as of today is that they'd had a fallout some years ago and things were not the way it used to be. So neither of them is seen, let's say, for want of an example, in the same league in terms of closeness to the powers that be as, let's say, an Ashok Gehlot was. That was a limited point.
So, see, again, the point is Ashok Gehlot was directly being referred by 10 Janpath, and that is in itself a reason that 10 Janpath wants somebody who is in complete control of them to be part of that. There is still time for people to file in the nomination. So let's not draw a line today that this is it and these are the two people. Maybe there would be an added addition or somebody else who could come in via the 10 Janpath routes. That could still happen. But the essential point being that need for a change is still not being seen from the state presidents to the cadre to everybody. They still want Rahul Gandhi to come in. Rahul Gandhi for some reason is not interested. So this is an entire party of reluctant politicians anymore. Ashok Gehlot was being coronated, but he's not interested anymore.
The fundamental point, and I like the way you say the 10 Janpath route, because to get to 24 Akbar Road, you need to go through 10 Janpath. But let me ask Suman C. Raman. One thing is this entire episode starting from last Sunday when the CLP meeting was called for, and that turned out to be a fiasco, and all the way up until today when Mr. Gehlot said, I'm not running to be Congress president, this entire fiasco was completely avoidable. All that the High Command needed to ask Mr. Gehlot was, are you interested in the Congress president's job? Do you want to be Congress president, or do you want to continue as chief minister? Because if you're wanting to continue as chief minister, there's no point going through this whole charade. And at the end of the day, this charade has just rendered the High Command looking like a bunch of incompetent chaps, because they clearly underestimated Mr. Gehlot's clout within the legislature party.
Zaka, I would not think that even the Congress leadership, even the present Congress leadership would be so colossally incompetent to have not discussed this issue with Mr. Gehlot. I think Mr. Gehlot pulled a fast one. He overplayed his hand. I think the plan which would have been discussed was for Mr. Gehlot to step down and the High Command to take a decision on his successor. At some point, when it appeared that Sachin Pilot would be the choice of the High Command, I think Mr. Gehlot decided to pull a fast one, and this is the reason for the fiasco. They are now furious with Mr. Gehlot, which is why he has said, I went and said sorry, and so on. The point is very clear. The Congress High Command does not have a clear candidate. Even Mr. Gehlot was sort of, pulled in kicking and screaming because he was certainly not, keen on taking up the job. So it's a sad, story today that nobody wants to head India's largest party. I mean, largest in terms of oldest and most famous political party over the decades. The point one is Digvijay Singh fell out with Rahul Gandhi and the Gandhis in a larger sense, which is why you saw him being sidelined even in Madhya Pradesh. When you remember, Zaka, Digvijay Singh at one point was the face of the Congress party in Madhya Pradesh. And then what happened? Kamal Nath came in and Kamal Nath became the chief minister. Mr. Digvijay Singh was actually pushed to almost a number 3 spot behind Jyotiraditya Scindia. Kamal Nath versus Jyotiraditya Scindia was really the contest there.
Yeah.
And Mr. Digvijay Singh was virtually and also ran in his own state. So I think that he is certainly not going to be a hugely popular choice, even should the High Command want to anoint him. Shashi Tharoor, yes, Shashi Tharoor at least appeals to some very, very small segment, but he's seen as too elitist. So how the Congress cadre would respond to him, especially in the Hindi belt, when he's not a leader from the Hindi belt, also makes it a very difficult choice. And I was thinking, why couldn't they think potentially of Sachin Pilot himself? Why could Sachin Pilot not be, he's young, he's from the Hindi belt, taking him out and making him a national president takes him out of the hair of Ashok Gehlot during the remaining of his term as Rajasthan chief minister. But that's not even been spoken because I don't think that after his rebellion in 2020, the Gandhis have any kind of significant confidence in Sachin Pilot as being a total loyalist to them.
Okay, so let me ask Hemant Attri. Hemant, now that Mr. Gehlot is not in the running to be Congress president, and yet we have heard from KC Venugopal just within the last hour that the decision on who is going to be the Rajasthan chief minister will be taken by the Congress president. There will be a one-line resolution passed by the CLP whenever it's called in the next day or so. Is there still a chance that